One of us is an international travel professional. The other one of us is also an international travel professional. We've both done a lot of traveling, and I know that we've talked about travel before, but because somebody, I don't know who, is going on a trip, we thought we'd talk a little bit about travel tips today.
Hi everyone, Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gargone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show. Somebody is also a professional lighting expert and has opinions. Anyway, hi, welcome to The Backpack Show. I'm Chris Brogan. That's your co-host, Kerry Gargone. She's really the person who runs the show. I'm just here to push the couple of buttons that I'm allowed to push still. Kerry, welcome on board. How are you?
Getting ready to take a trip, and I can never just go one place and then come back because that would make too much sense. So I have a trip coming up that's going to take me to 3 different countries. So it's difficult to pack because the weather is a little different in each place. So tip number 1, layers. What's your number 1 tip for traveling?
My tip number 1 is never do what you do. Never go to multiple countries because that is insanity. If you never go to a second location, I feel like John Mulaney taught us this, but you are notorious for it. You will not, no fewer than 2 trips. Like if you're going to Europe, you're going to hit 3 countries minimum, it seems like. Is that appropriate?
No, I mean, not without fail. So I am a believer in maximizing kind of the value of a trip. So for example, in this one, I'm going to visit my daughter and then who lives in one country. Then I'm going to present at a conference in another country. I mean, that's where the event is. I'm going there. But I noticed that from where the event is, it is a very short hop to Poland, where we have our office, another office, like the company that I work for has an office. I've never seen it, and the pictures are bananas cool. So I was like, I would love to go and see it. My boss works out of there, so I'm going to go and check it out. So it was just a question of, hey, when's the next time I'm going to be this close to that place? So that's how destination number 3 came into play. I agree, it is ambitious. What would you do in that situation? You would just like not do one of them.
None of them. I don't know. Like travel has always perpetually, international travel especially, has always been kind of like an arm twist in a way. I love to go to places. I mean, I got to go to United Arab Emirates. I got to be there on behalf of the royalty there. I mean, what an exciting time. It was a great time. It was also a stupid long trip. I got to speak in Wellington, New Zealand back when I was the Chris Brogan. And that was a flight from Boston to Denver, Denver to San Francisco, San Francisco, all the way to Auckland, and then from Auckland down to Wellington. And it was almost 20 hours all in from start to finish in the air. That was a lot. And I did it. I did my speech. I hung out. I went to like one thing. I went to WetaWorks Studio and flew back home like super fast. So I'm just not that guy in those ways. But when you go and do travel, when you have multi-country trips and that sort of a thing, like you said, it's tricky because there's like so many different environments. You have to get the plugs right? I mean, I'll talk a little more on the tech side in that if you don't have enough good international plugs, you are going to run a risk. At Tel Aviv, I shut the power down on one whole floor, even though I had the appropriate plug. It just was like a cheap one and it broke something. Like there's a lot of things you could get wrong technically. I think that your point about clothing is tricky. And I dress like an absolute troglodyte, but you have a certain image to uphold because you might be presenting. You're going to walk into an office. There's like lots of times where it's going to matter what you're wearing, whereas I could just sort of hide in the bushes most times unless I'm on a stage. So I think there's something to that too. How on the earth did you learn to kind of boil it down? Because you and I both know people who travel with 85 items for a 2-day trip or something. How did you start to figure out how to boil it all down?
Well, first of all, I carry on no matter what. And I think I had one trip where I checked a bag, and it was because I was going through like 2 wildly different climates. It was like Scotland first and then Montenegro. And so for that one, I had like heavier clothes for Scotland. I brought a bag with me and I left it at the airport in Edinburgh. and then continued on to Montenegro with my lighter weight summer stuff in my carry-on, and then came back. Like, that's how I managed that. It was like two little it was a storage locker and two different bags. But normally I carry on. I went to Australia, sorry, I can't speak, with a tote, like a duffel bag, basically, like a kind of not even fancy, but like a well-organized duffel bag. And the reason for that was I knew that the connections were super tight and I could easily miss one. If I had a bag checked, my bag might not catch up with me. And it was like a 10-day trip. It was going to be long. So I carried it with me. It stunk like carrying it through the airports. But you know what? It was soft. I could squish it in the overhead. Never had a problem getting it on. So I try to plan kind of that way. There are issues with dressing for multiple occasions. Like, I'm going to be speaking, so I need one outfit that stays clean and I don't use for anything else. Like, because I don't know. It's a man-woman thing too. You can't totally just like drag yourself on stage as a woman looking shabby, because for whatever reason, there's this like double standard. Dudes can do it, girls can't do it. I don't know, in my experience. So I'm going to be dressing a little bit nicer, but that just means I have to like make room for one nice outfit. Everything else, I wear stuff that I wouldn't mind throwing away. Sometimes I wear stuff on purpose that I'm going to throw away because, we all have jeans that like aren't exactly like we hoped, or a sweater that like has one little hole in it somewhere and we're going to toss it. Keep it. Wear it on your next trip. Toss it. Then you have more room for snacks on the way back. So that's one of my tips. So I don't look great. I don't look like my best on vacation. Obviously, if you have to dress up for an event or something like that, then you do. But the rest of the time, anybody's guess what condition you're going to find me in. I also will, apart from that, I'll try to book a place, usually like an Airbnb that has a washer and ideally a dryer, but sometimes it's a drying rack, so that I can pack about half as much stuff and do laundry along the way. I know it stinks to do laundry while you're away, but I mean, I'm not one of those people who can wash my stuff in like a hotel sink. I know people do it. I can't.
That all made sense to me. I get all of it. I especially like your tip about, bring something that's a little bit damaged that you could use for the one travel, and then you won't feel sad that you throw it out, or I don't know, put it in a donation bin over there or something. Mostly throw it out. Let's not lie. Leslie says, I did on my last trip. I brought stuff that was on its last wear and dish done on the trip. There you go. So that's a very frugal way to get through some of it. It also makes a little more room in case you want to bring back things for others, which I have never successfully done. Every time I've tried, it's either shenanigans or I just don't. And I'm at the airport like, do you think they'd like toothpaste? I was thinking about the tech side of it still. One of my best tricks ever was that I bought a power, like an like a thing that has lots of places to put a lot of plugs into, so that I could only have one adapter. So I have the one adapter go into the wall, my thing goes into that, and then I've got 8 or so plug outlets and some USB outlets all in one setup. That way, that one piece makes all of the tech that you want to travel with easier to manage. Like, usually I have a phone, I'm a photographer, so I'll have a bunch of cameras. Like it's just your laptop. It's so much easier just to have it all on one setup like that. So that's one of my biggest tricks. And I do that. Another thing I've had, we've probably talked about this on the show or something. Someone gave us this idea. It was curtains almost entirely always have a situation where they will be open in such a way that it's annoying and the light isn't. They bring those potato chip clips. They're like really big clothespins, but they're like, you're supposed to use them to close potato chip bags up, or crisps if you're in the UK. I think that's a big thing to take with you. I think things that you can bring with you that'll make your environment in your room, no matter which room it is, a little bit better and a little more likely you're going to get through the night. I think those are deeply underrated. Anything like that come to mind?
Well, one thing, you don't necessarily have to bring chip clips or hair clips or anything else for those curtains, because most hotel rooms have hangers in the closet for pants. And the pants the pants thing has clips on it. So I have if they come out of the closet, this is the other problem. Some of them don't, but some of them do. If you can get it out of the closet, you can on the curtains with that. I have done that. Sometimes they're like, I don't know, anchored to the closet pole, and in that case it doesn't work. I usually do have a hair clip with me just because I need it for like taking off my makeup or whatever. So yeah, I agree. If you want the light the way you want it, I have unplugged the alarm clock in every hotel room I've been in. I have also had to check to take out any battery backup because believe it or not, they'll go off anyway. It is ridiculous. I don't know why they have alarms or why people set them like that and leave them. I don't know. So yeah, I've done that. Trying to think what else. Oh, I always request a room that's further away from the elevator, which means I do a lot of walking because I have to go all the way to the end. If possible, I'm not like a diva about it or anything. I just like put it in my little preferences and then use my member number every time I make a reservation. That way it pulls every time and they'll try to put you in a room that like answers your requirements. I like to be far away from the elevator because I'm a late sleeper and people are loud. I don't know what your experience is with that.
I was thinking about it, and I don't have a specific rule for that because I will say that a lot of times when I get to a hotel, I'm often like exhausted. Maybe didn't have such a great flight, and I almost always think, oh, how convenient! I'm near the elevator. But I also, when I fall asleep like a corpse. I do like, if there was someone in the room with me, I might wake up because I'm sure that person is an assassin sent to murder me. But if I'm, traveling solo, then I have no problem in the universe being right close to the elevator because that's outside my room. It could be a giant grizzly bear, but they would have to have a key card. I do like that idea though, for people who are light sleepers to get down the other side of things. You're unplug the alarm and check for batteries. That second part made a lot of sense to me. I totally get that. I do also kind of often I'll find myself unplugging the TV because there's this new habit with the TVs in hotel rooms that they run ads, like if you're not looking at a channel, and that kind of drives me a little bit cuckoo bird as well. I don't mind. I always think to myself, I'm sure that the housekeeping person is going to be a little bit like, but whatever. They got to kind of deal with us. You know what? Before I forget about it, I wanted to just throw our sponsor mentions out there. Our pal Chloe Forbes Kinlan, you can get Notion, which will help you get everything put together. Notion's just doing some incredible stuff too. They're doing a lot of really cool dashboard type projects. There's all kinds of like really cool sales pipeline and CRM stuff. And Chloe's just an expert at it. You can get everything you see in this little slide here. Go to businessops.co/backpack to do that. And then our friend Fazia Burke, who is one of the world's best book publicists, has brought us so many guests over the years, must be 30 to 50 of those. And she also has a cool little Substack where she's writing a little bit about practical and grounded ways to use AI. So faziaburke.substack.com. Oops. So, you and I also differ in that when I go to a place, I horrifically under visit a place. I will be at my hotel. I will be at whatever venue I need to be at. And if there's something foot traffic between my hotel and wherever nearby, I might go check it out a little kind of, and usually outdoors, I don't want to go on anything. You like tours.
When we worked for the same company, and sometimes there'd be like a work event, I would sometimes book a tour and then get you to come along if it was possible, like if you didn't have another meeting or something like that. And unless you were lying, it seemed like you actually enjoyed it. So I don't think the problem is that you don't like it. I think the problem is you don't want to plan it, which I understand. So I have, over the years, I think, gotten pretty good at spotting the kinds of things that are going to work for me, which usually involve, historic sites, architecture, things like that. They're not like off the beaten path, but they're probably also not what most people would do if they went to a city. So I do have to do a little research first. Then I plan them for myself and I limit myself to like one, maybe two things a day. It's like one big thing and then maybe one like lower key, easy thing. So for example, like one tour that takes say 2 to 3 hours of a museum or a historic site, and then, or like walking around the old part of the city, for example, learning the history of it. Then maybe one thing like how to make pierogies or like, some kind of a small interactive thing. I do not try to see the entire city on foot like the whole time I'm there. I might do one tour that takes me around the city so I get kind of the footprint of it down, and then I'll look at maybe one neighborhood a day. And if I'm only there in the city for a couple of days, well, that tells you I'm not going to see the whole city. I'm at peace with that because I just know I can't be that person. I want to enjoy myself. I want to learn something while I'm there. I'm not going to drive myself crazy trying to do every single thing. I've been on vacation with people who walk like 27, 28,000 steps a day just trying to see everything. That's like their idea of what to do in the city is like walk around and look at absolutely everything. That just makes me want to like walk into the ocean. I can't do that.
It's fewer steps to get into the ocean. I've done the math on that. I was just thinking about which cities were a surprise to you that you were like, wow, this is really cool, or wow, I really feel like I could live here the minute you get off the plane. Like what city anywhere in the world that you traveled were you like, this is amazing? And then I have a question, what made it that way? Like what made it different than home?
So I am still part of the content team at Appfire where I work. And one year we went to Bilbao, Spain, where we have an office. It's a smaller office. And the whole content team went and did, like interactive workshops and meetings focused on content. The city of Bilbao, I had not expected to love as much as I did. It's a smaller city. I love a smaller city versus like a big New York style city. So, and the people there were very nice. The culture is really interesting because they're in Basque country. So it's not like Madrid or Barcelona. It's like a very different vibe. And they had this one, I guess I'd call it a tradition or a cultural thing, but every bar has these like little sandwiches called pinchos, I think pinchos, and they're different at every bar you go to. And so kind of the thing to do is to hang out with your buddies after work and go to different bars, like kind of bar hop, but you're eating these different sandwiches each place you go, having a glass of wine or something like that. So it's not like at the end of the night you're going to be laid out drunk. It's like you're having a snack and like a beverage and a nice conversation that progresses. So I loved Bilbao. I could see living there someday. Like I liked it that much. So that was a surprise to me. I had not ever heard of it. I also was very surprised at how beautiful Montenegro is. I'd never been. I went to Budva and I went to Podgorica for the same group of organizers, same event 2 times. And it's really breathtaking. I didn't even know. I couldn't have pointed to it on a map, I think, before they invited me to speak there. It's lovely. It's as pretty as Greece or any places that you kind of are familiar with the vibe and the destination. Highly recommend it. I mean, I loved it. What about you? Any surprises?
I went to Bilbao on a different trip than you, and I felt the same sorts of things. So I'll just kind of double click your yes on that one because it was just great. I really liked Amsterdam a lot. I loved the sort of very vibrant side of the culture. Berlin, I stayed at a place that was right near where the wall had come down, and it was so energetic, so much like new tech in the area, so many like artists in the area. I thought Berlin was grand and great food. I make a lot of my judgment on where I travel on my belly. There were a couple of places I wanted to love more than I did. Lisbon, I thought was an okay place, but I wasn't like, this is most amazing. That was on the Bilbao tour as well. I also think when it came to, I haven't gone to enough Asian places. I would love to have that opportunity. The closest I did was Hyderabad in India and had a great old time. There's other parts of it, India, that I'd also like to see. It's a huge subcontinent. So I only saw one city, which is a very working city. I mean, in Massachusetts terms, it'd be like going to Burlington, but it's not quite the place. So I think that, to me, I think that's the ones that really stuck out. Wellington, New Zealand was also really pretty, but everyone said I should have gone to Auckland. So what do I know? I know a lot of, like me, a lot of your travel is event based. It's, you're going to some conference, you're doing it because work said was do it, quick, you made $20,000 and you've got to put it towards going someplace for just pleasure and enjoyment. Where would you go?
Oh boy. Let me think. So I love history. So it would be somewhere there's a lot of history. And I've been to Scotland, I've been to the UK, but it's not like I've seen it all, right? I've been to Ireland. Similarly, I've been to Dublin like a couple of times. I'm going to Belfast later this year. I have not seen Ireland, like all of it. So I probably would take a leisurely trip first around the United Kingdom and around Ireland because my family is originally from Ireland, for one thing. Also, I love Tudor history in England. So there's just like a lot of kind of spots that have historical significance that I, being a complete nerd, would want to look at, or family significance that would be of interest to no one but me. So if I had the money, I was footing the bill, I was just going to go do something like that, I would do that for sure. I'm not going to like go cliff diving or anything like that. I'm definitely like let's go check stuff out. I have a travel agent skill I built using AI, Anthropic Claude. I gave it examples of the itineraries, not with like numbers and credit cards and stuff, but like things that I did, activities in different cities. So it has a very, very good sense of the kind of things I like. So I would for sure be consulting that for places I ought to stop by, and kind of how to organize the trip so that it makes the most sense from a logistical standpoint. Like what's easy to fly into? How do I get from there to all these places? And then where would I fly out of for the next spot? Because I probably would, if I was going to drop that kind of cash, I would probably continue my journey. So at this point, I'm focusing on it's pretty easy to get to the UK and Ireland from here. If it was a bigger amount of money, like say it was like 50 grand, right? Then I might go the other way, go to Australia and New Zealand, because the airfare alone is really expensive, especially if you have any interest in trying to get a seat that you can like lie flat. And it is a 15-hour flight from LAX to Brisbane. So I probably would want that. I wouldn't mind going in that direction, and then maybe seeing Tokyo as well as seeing some of Australia. And yeah, I would do that. I've been to Brisbane and Sydney, but it was like 10-day, maybe 2-week trip. I could use more time to take it in a more leisurely fashion. What about you? Where's your like dream destination?
Was thinking about it the whole time you were saying it. I was like, she's going to turn this back around on me. I liked a lot of your answers too. A few of them come to mind. South Korea, I don't know if it'd be Seoul or Busan. Busan, because I loved the movie Train to Busan, and I don't know anything about it. I imagine it's possibly also not like as cool as I think it is in my head, but Seoul at least. But I think a lot of South Korea would be really cool looking. Thailand, Bangkok. I think that ever since that really dopey 1980 song "One Night in Bangkok," I've always Murray Head from Chess. I've always thought, I bet that would be cool. And the only thing is, I always just see that it's like so super hot there. Saigon. There's this guy Sonny who does the best ever food review shows or whatever, and he moved his family to Vietnam. He's like a Midwesterner, and he always makes it look pretty cool there. Again, super hot. Like I'd soak right through all my clothes. And I've been to places that are stupid humid, and it is not a pleasant feeling for me being a big, large, round human. But those are the ones that came right to mind. What?
Tips. I feel like we have to deliver on some tips. So quick tips for travel, because we do this. We'll say we're going to do trips, and then we end up like daydreaming out loud about where to go.
Sorry.
Couple things. Book flexible or fully refundable if you can. I don't know if you tinker like I tinker, but I tinker with my arrangements right up until the end practically. You may have something come up for work, or maybe somebody gets sick, or maybe, who knows, something could come up. So I always do that. It costs a little bit more upfront, but it's worth it because you don't lose that money completely on the booking or pay ridiculous fees. So that's one tip. The other is luggage. Like we talked a little bit about using a duffel bag instead of a roller. I do most often use a roller, but it is small. It is like I measured it. It is small on all American flights and most international flights. It counts as like you can carry it into the cabin. Sometimes it's a tiny little plane where they've got like, you could basically get away with like a briefcase size carry-on. For those, I mean, you have to gate check it. There's not much you can do. But I do try to avoid checking if I can. The other thing I'll say about that is that the bag itself is super, super light. It's a Rimowa. So it's expensive, but I've used it for 10 years. It is very durable and lightweight. I'm a stickler for how heavy the empty bag is. It's got to be light enough that I can just pick it up like with hardly any effort, empty, because you're going to stuff it full. So those are some of my off the top tips. That, and if you have any kind of food sensitivity, bring your own snacks. It is really difficult to find food that's suitable for, like, if you have celiac or anything like that, or any kind of specific dietary needs. Just bring some snacks at minimum. you could probably find some food to eat, but there's going to be times that you just need something quick and there's nothing to hand. So what about you? Any tips?
I'll double down on snacks and say that when you're getting ready to get on the airplane, always bring some liquid on board with you that you got at the airport itself. I think that snacks are a super important thing to have because you just never know. Like you might not make the timing work out right. You've traveled too fast. Things are going on. You need a bite, but also liquid. People, when you are dependent on the flight attendants to bring you some support and some food or whatever, that's when something's going to go wrong. There's going to be turbulence. There's going to be some reason that they can't do it, or they only have 2 drinks on board and they're not the ones you want. Like there's a million ways that they can mess it up. So come up with ways not to. Quart bags and or gallon bags, like Ziploc bags, are a must. I always bring a handful of those things with me because you never know. For instance, just something as simple as taking the pills that I take with me. I always make sure it's in a gallon bag because you never know if your little pill container, as cool as it is going to break open. And next thing you know, you're chasing around like 106 pills in your underpants or something. So I think that the bags is a pretty important one. I do think it can be useful to have fastener type, not zip ties, because I think that might get you a little bit of an extra inspection. But it's also good to have, a few extra kind of things to clamp things off. So for instance, maybe like even a couple of little simple, it won't come off my little tray here. I'm just going to make lots of rattly sounds over here for a second. Hang on. Little D-rings, because you never know if you're going to need to clamp something to something. And I think that, I guess the way I look at it, if there was a sentence in my mind, it's try to bring as little as you can, but for the things you bring, make them serve the environment you're trying to recreate on the other side. It seems weird that we're very willing to go somewhere else and try to operate from a very different setup than try to bring the parts of comfort that we need to us when we get to another place. So I wanted to end with a question to you, which is, I saw this little short or a reel or who knows where. I saw it on YouTube. And they were saying the way that we could better design our cities in the US would be to think about the reasons we take the vacations we do and the part we liked experiencing in some other place. Now, in some cases, you can't find Tudor castles up in, New Hampshire. But in some cases, there are things that we travel for that maybe we wish we had here. What comes to mind when I say that? Are there, in travel tips, we pick the kind of environments we go to. What environments are you trying to pick? And is that because of stuff we don't have in the States?
I pick destinations that are walkable, and there are not a lot of destinations in the United States that are walkable. Like you can go to LA, but you're not going to walk that city. It's, you'd have to be in one neighborhood. You could walk that. You're going to have to like Uber to another neighborhood, walk that. I want to be in a place where you can walk around the city, not because I'm going to do it all in a single day, but I like a smaller walkable city. I also like a place with character. So some history, and also I like the place where I'm going to spend my time when I'm having breakfast, or even like when I'm getting ready to go to sleep, when I just want to unwind. I want to be in an interesting place, not like a beige box. So that's another reason I tend to look at Airbnbs. It's also why the building I live in is like 120 years old. It's old and has character, and I love it. So I'm looking for something like that when I go away as well, and the place where I live. And then the other thing I would say is I don't ever want to go a place that's like one little place with nothing else around it. There is nothing that's that exciting to me that I'll go see just that one thing and nothing else. So I need to be able to get to other things. So one of the reasons I like living outside of Boston more than I liked living outside of Nashville is because there are a lot more things to see and do that are of interest to me personally that I can get to from here. So when I go on vacation, it's the same. I'll pick one kind of main destination, but if there are little like half day trips or something like that off of them that I can, go and see another interesting destination, I will do it. When I went to Dublin, we took a day trip out to Belfast to see the Giant's Causeway. So now I'm going to go to Belfast, but I need to have more things around. I can't just be like out on a bit of land alone. I need things to do. I don't know.
One last tip, part of travel tips, because you're right to remind me not to just daydream. The other thing I think to bring is those cloth, or I don't know what kind of fabric they are, reusable shopping bags, but not the cheap $1 ones you get at the store, but those kind that you can buy off like Amazon, 6 for like $12. Because there's almost a million times where you're going to need a little bag when you're out and about out there. And if you have a little one, you could stick in a pocket or your backpack or something. It's probably useful. And I always just think that there are things you're going to always find yourself needing. That feels like one of them.
Yes, and also if you have a like a tote bag that can lie totally flat, that it serves a similar purpose. But I think I got it as like a gift from Victoria's Secret or something when I bought something else, but I had it for years. It was like a cloth tote bag and it would squish down really small, or you could lay it totally flat and it would take up almost no space. But then if you found yourself in a situation where you got a lot of event swag or something like that, like a sweatshirt, something thick or heavy, and you didn't want to wear it, other things that are like packing in your bag, now you maybe have to check your carry-on bag if you want to get it all back, unless there's like no other way you're going to carry all this stuff. So if you're in that situation, you can then put things that you don't want to put in your checked bag. You can put them in this tote that you've brought, and you've got like your backpack with your laptop. You've got your tote with your kind of like your medications, any like breakable stuff, gifts you're bringing back, whatever stuff you don't want ruined. And then you can just like check your clothes and hope for the best. So never hurts to have an extra bag with you, and wear sensible shoes. That goes without saying. I've seen people, especially speakers, get these like ridiculous platform shoes or something to speak in, and bless them. I mean, that's how they do. I cannot. But more importantly, if you're going to do that on stage for speaking, or for like a cocktail reception or some important dress up thing, for the rest of the time, do yourself a favor and wear comfortable shoes, because you'll do a lot more walking than you ever thought you would.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
There's really only choice. It's our pal Leslie. Person of the day. Leslie is a veteran traveler in her own way. She goes on lots of little trips, and I think that she should win person of the day. When you were walking through, I meant to talk about comfortable shoes like a million times, so I'm glad you did it, because I've traveled with silly humans who have the worst choices in footwear, and I'm just thinking, what are you doing right now? Like, I get that there may be like some time for some event, but then have the most comfortable shoe a human could ever wear as your second pair. And that would be the thing.
I've never been thrown out of an event because my shoes weren't nice enough. Like, as much as we all are worried somebody's going to pay, no one pays attention to what you're wearing. Most people couldn't tell you what their best friend was wearing yesterday. So I try not to overly worry about it. I mean, I don't wear like a F the police shirt or anything, you know what I mean? But like, within reason, what you're wearing does not matter.
Guess I can't wear my tuxedo t-shirt again. Oh, well. I was thinking, my grandparents both loved going on cruises, for instance. So there is one tip that's a little different for cruising than when you're on land.
Love that throw